Right, hello everyone. I'm a little bit early, so I'm just going to wait a second before we make a start. Brilliant. If you're online now and if you can see me, do just drop me a message. That's going to help me out now, so I know who we've got. So yeah, really excited today to get started on some Shakespeare soliloquies as well. So we'll just wait until a little after 10, then we'll get started. Oh yeah, got a couple of people here. Got Sarah, Kyla, Lee. Hello everyone.
Right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I don't know what to do now. I thought that's it. That's all I'm doing today. Just that.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm done after this.
Is there anything you need? Right.
Now what? Cool. Yeah, just in a Shakespeare workshop. Oh, hello Nicola as well. Brilliant, fantastic. So yeah, so this is going to be a really fun session. Actually, we're going to be looking at how we can how we can successfully perform one of Shakespeare's speeches. So one of his soliloquies. So we're going to start off, and we'll do a little warm up when we've got a few more people with us, and then we'll get started on having a look at some actual speeches. I think everyone gets a bit nervous with Shakespeare, don't they? They always think it's something that you need years and years of training to do, and it can be quite complicated. But actually, it's not that scary at all. I found it scary for years as well. I went through a phase where I really tried to avoid Shakespeare at all costs. And I remember when I was at school as well, if we've got any schools watching, I used to dread when we had Shakespeare. But actually now I absolutely love it. So hopefully we can get you guys thinking that as well. We've got Tony's joined us. Hello, Tony. Now, just while we're waiting, I will just quickly say hello. I'm Ben, and I run a company called Our Star Theatre Company, which is based over in Ledbury, so not too far from the courtyard at all. So pre-COVID times, we go and do lots and lots of workshops in schools, in youth theatres, all around Herefordshire, Worcestershire, Gloucestershire, and in theatres as well. So we perform lots and lots of our shows. We tour shows around to small and medium-sized theatres, usually doing a brand new production. So we have lots and lots of fun. Oh yeah, morning, Becky. So we're almost coming up to 10. Oh, there we go. So we're on 10 o'clock. I think we'll just wait another minute, see if we get anyone else. Then we'll get starting. Now I'm trying to be a bit fancy today. I'm going to be trying to see if we can do a bit of a screen share at some point as well, because we're going to be looking at different speeches. So we'll see how we can get on with that. There we go. I'm just checking I know where everything is, how we actually get to do certain things. If we can't, I have got things ready to rock and roll. If not, I've got some paper copies, which hopefully should work out. Just going to check that's the right way, isn't it? Yeah, if I'm holding that up. Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. So just wanted to check if I held up some paper, it's actually going to be the right way round. That would be a bit awkward if not. Brilliant. So we've just gone past 10 o'clock now. So I think we're going to make a start. If anyone joins us later on, not a problem at all. They can soon catch up. Right. So for those who've just joined us, I'll introduce myself again. My name is Ben Mowbray. I run Our Star Theatre Company. I was very pleased to be asked to run this workshop today. So we're going to be looking at Shakespeare soliloquies. For anyone who doesn't know what a soliloquy is, it's basically a Shakespearean speech. Don't ask me why we call them soliloquies rather than monologues or speeches. In Shakespeare, I honestly don't know, but it's one of those things that it goes with the tradition of Shakespeare. So we're going to be looking at how do we actually piece apart a Shakespeare soliloquy to create a good and convincing performance, because contrary to what people think, anyone can do Shakespeare. You might think to yourself that it's not for you at all, you can't do it, but please give this a try and hopefully will prove yourself wrong. Now, just before we get started, I think let's do a little warm-up. So wherever you are, whether you're at home, whether you're in a classroom, wherever you are, if you can just make sure you have got a bit of space to yourself, give yourself a bit of a shake, bit of an arm shake. Make sure you twisted that neck round. Make sure you're nice and stretch up. Ooh. Anything that feels good in the morning usually is doing the trick. So I usually do, as if I've just had a big yawn. A yawning. Oh, dear me. And what I like to do, and some people don't like this, but I do, I always give myself a little bit of a pat. Just pat up and down my chest, down to my tummy. You can't see, there you go. And back up on the shoulders, down my arms, give them a nice rub. Bit of a rub down my arm, rub down the other one. Oh, brilliant. And now something I always do when I'm doing any dialogue, any speeches at all, is I do my face massage. So I give my face a good massage. So I'm going to start off up here on my forehead. I'm just going to start to really show off my wrinkles and my frown lines. So make sure you're doing this nice and vigorous up there onto your eyebrows. Make sure to be careful of your eyes though. I've known many a person kind of jam their fingers into their eyes. Doesn't end well. So nice and sensible. Down to your temples here. Slowly move it down to where your hard cheekbones are. You should feel them about here. Nice and stretchy. I've got particularly stretchy skin as well. Maybe I've done this too much. Down to your jawline here. Oh. On your cheeks. I'm going to look very silly now, so you can as well. Ooh. There you go. Make sure your nose has had a nice little rub. Your top lip. Ooh. Chins. Full face. And down into your neck. Careful with your neck. Your neck's very important. So maybe just underneath your jaws there. That's a really nice place to get to. Oh, much better. Fantastic. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Now, that's made my face nice and warm. My body is nice and relaxed. So now we're going to try and warm up our voice. And if you could follow a little exercise I'm doing right now, that would be absolutely fantastic. Now, all we want to do is create a nice, big, open sound for our voice to get nice and warm. Your voice should be coming up through your throat, out, nice and easy. It shouldn't be strange at all. So what we're going to do a little ritual I do every time I do a speech. So we're going to start off by going R-A-E-A. And the beauty of this is that you move your mouth. I don't want anyone going R-A-E-A. I want you to really exaggerate. So R-A-E-A. That's all we need to be doing right now. So let's try that together. Try it in your classrooms, if you're with other people. See if you can do it all together. If you're by yourself, no need to be self-conscious and you can give it a good go. So ready? R-A-E-A. Fantastic. Now, we're going to try adding on. We're going to go R, or, oo, or. Let's try that all together then. R, or, oo, or. Brilliant. Now we're going to link them together. So we've got R-A-E-A, R, or, oo, or. Nice and simple. Let's see if you can do this all together with me. Ready? And R-A-E-A, R, or, oo, or. Now, someone asked me the other day, why is this a good thing to do as a warm-up for your voice? And the reason is very, very simple. At the start of each of these little phrases, so R-A-E-A, what do they all start with? They start with a vowel noise. It's either an R or an E. And what that does, it has the breath, the flow coming straight up and out. And we call this an open sound. So if we've got a nice open sound, it's usually on a vowel. So a R, E, A, anything like that. Oo, if you've got an O sound as well, which we do in the second part of that. And what we don't want, at least to begin with, just to get our voice warmed, we don't want a closed sound. And a closed sound would be a consonant. So anything like a K or a T or a C, anything like that. But we're going to move on in a second and try and add in some consonants. And I'm going to tell you why we're doing that in a second. But just for now, let's do one more. R-A-E-A, R, or, oo, or, all together. Ready? And R-A-E-A, R, or, oo, or. Brilliant. And I actually do a little competition with my classes I teach to see who can do it the fastest. I'll give you an example, and I'm just going to give you 30 seconds to see if you guys can try doing it yourself. Okay, ready? I'm going to do it, and then you do it after. R-A-E-A, R, or, oo, or. That's the fastest I can do it. Just 30 seconds. How fast can you do it? Okay, so hopefully you've given that a go now. I think anyone who's in schools, that should totally be a house point or a sticker or something for anyone who managed to do it the fastest, don't you think, kids? So now we've done that as an R sound, we're going to add a consonant at the beginning. And the first one we're going to do, we're going to put a K on the front of it. We're going to put a K and a T. So instead of R-A-E-A, we're going to say Kata, kate, kati, kate. And then we're going to do it for the second one. Kata, kator, katu, kator. So together it makes kata, kate, kati, kate, kata, kator, katu, kator. And the reason we do that, adding that consonant sound at the beginning, is so we warm up our mouth even more, so we can create a good diction. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what diction means, it just means the clarity of your voice. How clear or not are you speaking? And obviously, if we're doing Shakespeare, there's lots of language we might not understand. So we need good diction. So that's why we're going to have this K sound. So the K and the T. Okay, I'm going to do it, and if you can do it back, that'd be fantastic. Ready, and kata, kate, kati, kate, kata, kator, katu, kator. Your turn. Brilliant. Now we're going to change that consonant. We're going to go from a kata, and we're going to go to a vbar. That's with a V and a B. A vbar. So it should go like this. Vbar, vbay, vb, vbay, vbar, vbor, vboo, vbor. See, I got it wrong then as well. This one is particularly tricky because we're using a V sound. And what V sounds do, they actually vibrate on your lips, don't they? If you just go, you can feel it on your lips. So it makes it a bit tingly and a bit more difficult to do. So this helps warm my voice up. So if I do it, then you can do it back again. Ready, and vbar, vbay, vb, vbay, vbar, vbor, vboo, vbor. That's the trickiest one I have to do. Go on, you have a go now as well. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at your vbars. Last one, and then we're going to move on to our main task. So we're going to leave the vbars away and we're going to go to a sla. So we're going to go sla, slay, slee, slay, sla, slaw, slew, slaw. Okay, so I'm going to do it and then you can do it back. Last one. So give it some real conviction. Ready, and sla, slay, slee, slay, sla, slaw, slew, slaw. Okay, hopefully you've given that a go as well. Now, just one last thing to get those mouths nice and warm. We're going to pretend we're chewing a really, really big toffee. Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to unwrap your invisible toffee wrapper. I want you to put it in your mouth. It's about that big. It's quite big. So I'm going to want you to put it in your mouth, and it's going to be really hard to chew. It's going to be really, really hard. And you've got to keep going until it gets nice and soft and elastic. So I'm going to do it with you, okay? Ready? Oh, it's really hard. It's getting softer. I'm trying to make nice yummy sounds. Yeah. And a big swallow. There we go. That's our toffee. Brilliant. So now we're going to look at the speech. We're going to see if we can see about analysing a script. What do we need to include? How are we going to do it? So we're going to start off with a modern day speech. So not a Shakespearean speech, because I think if we can get a modern day speech, really, really finely honed, a Shakespeare speech is going to be easy. So I'm going to read it out, then I'm going to put it in front of my camera so you can all see what it says yourself. Now, it's only a couple of lines, see? Not very long at all. So I'm going to read it out, then I'll show it you. Some people think I don't like sharing, but that isn't true at all. I love sharing. I love going up to someone and saying, "Do you want a sweet?" But no one ever asks me. So that's our little speech. It's not long at all, is it? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this up in front of my camera so you can all read it yourself. I would love it if you gave it your best go, just as it is. And once you've all had a read out loud, then we're going to see if we can try and evaluate how we can improve it. What can we do to this speech? So here we go. So make sure you're giving it a really good effort trying to perform this out loud. Don't be embarrassed if anyone else is with you in the room. Just worry about your own performance and how you can do it. Just going to give you another 30 seconds to give it a go. Hopefully it's easy enough to read as well. Okay, hopefully that was enough time for you to give it a read. Now, let's just have a think about what is this speech actually about? Who is delivering this speech? What character is saying these lines? I'm just going to give you 10 seconds to think or talk to the people around you if you're in a classroom. Who is actually saying this speech? So 10 seconds, off you go. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Matt. Matt's done it and he's loving it. Brilliant. So just another 10 seconds. Okay, there we go. So hopefully you've had to think about who could be saying this line. Maybe it's someone in a school, a student maybe. Maybe it's a friend talking to their other friends. Maybe it's a man in a sweet shop or a woman. Who knows? We've got all these different scenarios and we've got all these different clues in our speech, isn't it? Why do people think they don't like sharing? That's a question that's come to my mind after reading that. What makes that person love sharing? Do they really, or are they just saying that? There's lots and lots of reasons to say yes or no to any of these things. Now, something that we have to do in a Shakespeare speech, and it's the same with any other speech, is look at our vocal skills. What can our vocal skills do? Well, they can create emotion, they can create suspense, they can create, what else can they create? They can create feeling, they can create a relationship with whoever else is on stage or with the audience. They can reveal secrets as well. So we've got lots and lots of different things that these techniques can do. And I'm just going to try and work through a few of these techniques with you. Oh, thank you, Debbie. We've got Riverside Primary. Fantastic. Thank you all, Year 6. Now, one of our vocal techniques that we're going to look at, first of all, is pause. I think you all will probably know what pause is. If you don't, all that pause means, when we're looking at speeches, it means a silence on purpose. Why do we put a silence on purpose? What can that achieve? Let me just give it a try. I'm going to put this up again in front of me so you can see it. And I'm just going to give it a read. Just this first little bit here. Some people don't think I like sharing. But that isn't true at all. I love sharing. So just think about, where did I put in a pause? As an actor, I made that decision, didn't I? Where did I put in that pause? What did it do? Did it make you want to find out what else is happening in your speech? Now, we're going to look at a different vocal technique we can use. We're going to look at tone. Now, tone is a trickier one. What exactly does tone mean? Now, I think tone means how it is said. So it's not leaving pauses. That's more of a technical element. Tone is really, how is the person feeling when they say this? So I'm going to bring it up again. And I could do this in several ways, couldn't I? I could say, some people don't like sharing, but that isn't true at all. I love sharing. How did that sound? That sounded quite happy, didn't it? Quite jolly, friendly even. I could do it like this. Some people think I don't like sharing, but that isn't true at all. I love sharing. Now that was a lot more sad, wasn't it? So that's all tone is. Changing how the character says something to get the emotion across to the audience who are watching it. Now, we've looked at pause, we've looked at tone. I would say there's a couple more important bits that we can have a look at. Pace. Pace is a really important vocal skill. Now, who can tell me what exactly is pace? I'm going to tell you now. Pace is how fast or slow you're saying the lines. Now, some of you might know the word pace from PE, running. That's pace, how fast you are. They've got a good pace. That means they might be really fast. Now, all it means in drama is exactly the same thing. Although we're not talking about running necessarily, we're talking about how fast or slow someone is speaking. So let me just have a look at this. Let's see if we can change the pace. Some people think I don't like sharing, but that isn't true at all. I love sharing. That was a bit slow, wasn't it? It was a slower pace, whereas I could do it like this. Some people don't think I like sharing, but that isn't true at all. I love sharing. Much faster. What does it do if a character has a faster or a slower pace? Does it tell us a little bit of information about our character? Is it drip feeding us information? What could it do? What can it tell us? Now, we've got a couple of more obvious ones. I just want to whiz through now. Volume. We all know what volume is. How loud you are. You can either be really loud or you can be really quiet, or you can be somewhere in the middle. You've got a whole range of volumes to go from. What does that tell us about our character? If they performed very loud, or if they performed really quietly, what does it tell us about our characters? Maybe they're confident. Maybe they're shy. Maybe they're trying to be secretive. maybe they're not that bothered. All these different things we can learn just from volume. And lastly, pitch. Pitch is a tricky one. People quite often get volume and pitch confused, but they're quite simple once you know the difference. Pitch is all about how high or low your voice is. What does pitch tell us though? First of all, it can usually tell us what kind of person someone is. Maybe they've got a higher voice and that might mean they're a bit anxious or a bit nervous. Maybe they've got a lower voice and they're feeling a bit angry and I'm in a lower pitched voice. Ugh. So we've got all these different pitches that we could do, and they can mean all sorts of things, and they link to the emotion, don't they? They also link to age, because a younger person is probably going to have a higher voice than your grandma or granddad, someone who's a bit older. And that's not me being rude to anyone, but that's just a fact. Older people tend to have lower voices. Younger people, because they're smaller, usually have higher voices. So it can tell us a character's age and it can tell us how the character might be feeling. Brilliant. Now we've looked at all of that together with this modern day speech. Now we're going to move on to some actual Shakespeare now. So I'm very, very excited to see how we can get on. Now, I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the last speech. I'm going to read it out to you, and then I'm going to show you it on my piece of paper. Now, the speech I've got is the opening speech from a Shakespeare play called Romeo and Juliet. Now, even if you're not very familiar with Shakespeare, you might have heard of Romeo and Juliet. It's a particularly famous Shakespeare play. I would argue one of the most famous. So this is the opening speech from Romeo and Juliet. And don't worry if you don't understand everything I'm about to say. Shakespeare can seem very scary when you start off, but if we break it down and think about what it means, it's really simple. Okay, I'm going to read it out now. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. It sounds quite dramatic, doesn't it? See, you might be sat there thinking, I'm sorry, Ben, but I don't understand any of that. Or you might be thinking thinking, oh, I got a bit of that. I can understand what it's about to an extent. Or if you're really, really good, you might know exactly what we're on about. But no matter where you are on that scale, we're going to work it out together now. Now, the beauty of Shakespeare is that all of his plays have actually been translated for us into what we call modern day English. Shakespearean English, like I just read out for you, is not how we speak these days, is it? We only ever speak like a Shakespearean actor when we're performing a Shakespeare play. Whereas hundreds of years ago, when Shakespeare was alive and kicking, he used this is how all of his plays were. So we're going to try and find out what actually do they mean. Now, here we go. Can you see? Whoops, let me get that away from the camera. Now, can you see here? We've got two sets of speeches. The top one is written as per the play Romeo and Juliet in Shakespearean English. The second one, so the one underneath, is written in modern English. And this is just a translation of what it actually means in kind of everyday speak. So I'll leave it here just for you to have a read, but I'll just read it out for you as well to help out. So I'll read the Shakespeare one again, and then I'll move on to modern English. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. So that was our Shakespeare. And our modern English translation is in the beautiful city of Verona, where our story takes place. A long-standing hatred between two families erupts into new violence, and citizens stain their hands with the blood of their fellow citizens. When I read it in the modern English, it sounds quite exciting, doesn't it? It's all about these two families fighting. They're rivals. They absolutely hate each other. Now, if you're a real clever clogs, you might know the name of these families. We've got the Montague family and the Capulet family. Two families, very, very wealthy families, important families from the city of Verona. Now, Verona is set in Italy, and we've got these two families who they are fighting against. They cannot stand each other. And in these two families, we have two lovers. We've got Romeo from the one family and Juliet from the other family. And although their families hate each other, they find out that they are both in love. So, as you can imagine, the story doesn't end well. It's one of Shakespeare's tragedies. Because these families hate each other, they can't love each other like they want. They can't go and get married like they want to in the play. They have to be lovers in secret. So we can use some of our vocal techniques we just looked at with our modern day speech, this one here. We can try and see if we can do the same thing with our Shakespeare speech. So let me try adding a pause in to my Shakespeare speech. I'm going to put it up in front of you so you can read on as well. Now, two households, both alike in dignity. In fair Verona, where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge breaks to the new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. Now, did you see what I did there? In your groups, whether you're at a school or by yourself, can you think of what techniques are used in that speech just then? Did I use pause? Did I use pace? Did I have a specific tone that I used? What do you think, having listened to me do that then? But you might be thinking, actually, I still don't understand what you're on about. But let's have another look at this modern translation. So, two households, both alike in dignity. Two households, what could that mean? Well, if I look at the modern English translation below, all that two household means is two families. Simple. In fair Verona, where we lay our scene. Where does it take place? In Verona, where we lay our scene. Again, that's simple, isn't it? With that translation, it helps us come up with what our story is actually about. From ancient grudge, break to new mutiny. Ancient grudge. If I've got an ancient grudge with someone, that means that we've got a long-standing kind of argument or a fight, isn't it? So that makes sense, doesn't it? Our two households, the Montagues and the Capulets, they've got an ancient grudge. They don't like each other, and they haven't for years and years. Fantastic. So we know that. And then the last line here, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. What could that mean? If you've got unclean hands and we've been talking about blood, what could that mean? Blood on your hands. That must mean that people are fighting against each other in Verona, these two families. So actually, once we've broken that down, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I now know what that speech is about. Now, what I would like you to do, I would like you to have a go at performing this speech for me, wherever you are. I'm going to give you not too long, probably about 2 minutes or so, to give this a go. I'd like you to try it more than once. Look at the translation in modern English. See if that makes sense to you. So I'm going to put it up in a second for you to look at. Now, I want you to see if you can use pace, how fast or slow you're speaking. Pause. I want you to use pause. When are you going to have a pause on purpose? What is that pause going to do? I want you to look at the tone of your speech. Is it a happy speech? I don't think it is it? It's quite a severe speech. I think that's a good way to put it, isn't it? Pitch. What pitch can we use? How high or low our voices are. And lastly, volume. How loud or quiet we're speaking. What does that do to a speech? Obviously, as actors, we want to have a nice, loud voice so everyone in that theatre can hear what we're saying. But we absolutely want to think about what does it do from an artistic point of view. Now, I want you to see if you can perform this speech in the next couple of minutes to the people around you, or if you're by yourself, and see if you can add in some of those vocal techniques to see if you can create a meaning for this speech. Can you get across what's written in this modern English speech underneath? Do you think it makes sense in your Shakespearean English? Now, if you're really struggling, feel free to use the modern English speech to go through and add in those effects. If you find the Shakespearean language just that little bit too hard, but I would love it if you gave the Shakespeare speech a go and just referred to this modern English one to see if you were getting the right intention across. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Off you go. That's 1 minute up, 1 minute left. See if you can add in some pitch, pace, pause, volume, tone. Can you add in some tone as well? How is your character feeling? What is your message to the audience? What are you trying to tell them in this speech? Okay, that's your time up. Brilliant. I'm so happy to see all these people joining in with us today. So that's almost my time up. Now, before we go, I just want to say, if you can, try and find some more Shakespeare. You can go on the internet and Google different Shakespeare speeches. See if you can use those techniques we've looked at today to evaluate how exactly we can come up with a successful speech. How can we make Shakespeare make sense in our modern English heads? Because it's not how we speak today at all, is it? It sounds very posh, very official. But when you break it down like we have today, it's not that scary and it's not that hard. And I think it sounds pretty cool. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona where we lay our seal, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. See, that sounds pretty cool, doesn't it, when I say it like that? So, just for us to finish, I think a little warm down exercise is in order. So what I want us to do is now have a big fat yawn and stretch those arms up as well. So, and I want you to just wrap your arms around you like this and give yourself a big hug, a big squeeze, and you can have a bit of a rock to the side if that helps. Oh, there we go. And slide those arms up, stretch them in front of you, wiggling those fingers up around your head. Stretch your chest out and relax. And one more time, we're going to stretch those arms up behind your back and relax. I think you've all done an amazing job today, and I'm so pleased to see so many people there. If you've enjoyed today, make sure to go and have a look at tomorrow's Facebook Live class on for our Shakespeare week as well. I hope some of you have been watching our other Shakespeare stuff. If you've missed it, they are still on the Courtyard's website, on their Facebook page. I looked this morning, so I know they're still there, so you can catch up. That's really exciting. Been some lovely stuff this week. I'm really grateful to the Courtyard for letting me join in with you guys today. And if you want to know more about me and what we do, my name's been Ben Mowbray from Our Star Theatre Company. And the vocal techniques we've been looking at today have been pace, pause, tone, pitch, and volume. And how can we put that into a Shakespearean speech? You have been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to say goodbye now and have a lovely rest of your day. Bye, everyone.